Good morning, guys, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you by Because Bitcoin. I'm, of course, Snorlax. You guys also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Max Tucker and Dr. Will's Outlook today. Got some movement in the futures market last night, at least in Bitcoin. Maybe not quite as much for equity. So we do have a little bit to talk about today. I think we have FOMC, maybe not FOMC, but we do have Jerome Powell speaking at some point later this week. So we do have a few things to look forward to that could impact, I think, the trading and the charts, as we continue to get into September, right? Like I said, I mean, Bitcoin did put on a pretty nice squeeze, a pretty nice pump off of yesterday's lows. We put in, I think, a small little trap dump right around futures open towards like 26.4, and then just absolutely ripped faces up towards 27.3. 1,000-point move on Bitcoin. And now, I mean, we're kind of at a fork in the road, right? We have pumped into a key supply zone. This is a big level for me to kind of interpret things both from a price action standpoint and a contextual standpoint, right? I mean, not only is this like a market structure level that you would look to break. And if it does break, I mean, I think you're targeting probably 29 or 30K, with this momentum. But also contextually speaking, right? I mean, these are the highs that we set from the grayscale pump. Breaking them and holding above them would be quite symbolic from a bullish standpoint. And if you are expecting to see bullish continuation possibly into the end of the year and in Q4. Meanwhile, we have legacy markets that are seeing, it looks like, some minor relief. I mean, they're basically flat on the day since the open. I'm looking at the SPX and the NASDAQ right now. But last week we did sell into the close, in particular on the quad witching. So I am kind of interested. Was that a bit of a tell as far as, what we're going to get directionality wise into the end of September? Or was it kind of just bait to trap more shorts and continue pumping, into October, which, I think that would probably lend favorably to Bitcoin potentially front running that, right? And then you have the flip side, which is equities did dump in at the end of last week. What does that mean for this week when you have, the VIX catching a 4 to 6% bid right off the open? The dollar has thus far held somewhat strongly. I mean, I'm not bullish or bearish on the dollar yet. I'll let you guys, share some charts on that in a minute. But, it has been holding, right? And it's been steadily grinding higher while you do have things like the volatility index beginning to creep up. So I'm curious, what does this kind of look like and mean for the rest of September? Who is lying? Is it equities? Is it the VIX? Or is it crypto and Bitcoin right now pumping on a Monday? I guess we'll see. But I mean, from what I can tell, it doesn't appear as though risk has followed too heavily today. But let's go ahead and get right into the charts, guys. I'm ready to talk about it. Let's start with this Bitcoin pump, right? Because it is, I mean, it's probably, the most volatile market that we're seeing so far, since futures open. I guess, there was that whole thing with the 2-year yield spiking, whether that was a glitch or not. I'll leave that to much smarter people to kind of figure out. But, I'm going to look at the Bitcoin volatility as the only real volatility that we've had so far this week. So what do we think, guys? Is it set to continue, or do you think this is a level where we could expect some sellers to step in and potentially send us lower?
Who wants to start?
Will,
you start if you want.
Yeah, Will, you start.
Will wants to start.
You got it, Will. Let him cook.
Man.
Hang on. All right, hold up. Let him cook. Go ahead, Will.
It is a tough day. So we had the discussion last week, basically where I had stated, fade the Friday, because we don't know what's going to happen Monday. And that's just because Mondays get tricky, right? They get tricky. And this is exactly what we're seeing, right? We saw the hold after Friday's dump. We're now seeing the pump. And now it's kind of like, where's the rejection, right? If there's a rejection, that's kind of the other scenario, right? For me, again, and this is something I talked about last week, it's still in that 28K range. I think 27 to 28 was your ideal high. And I think if you can't flip 28.5, like, you're going to come down, you're going to come down with force. And I think if you come back down and revisit those lows, I don't think you'll hold. I think if you come at the 25K, you're going through it. This is for me a momentum play at the end of the day. And that's what I think has kind of occurred here. Now, if they can get back above 28.5, I'm giving both scenarios because I want people to be clear. Like I'm neither bull or bear. I'm more neutral right now. If they can get back above 28.5, you can revisit the highs, right? But you have to evaluate your downside upside because you're basically gonna violate your low at some point potentially. And you come down for 28, you're gonna break through 25. What's your next level, right? It's 22, 23. Probably a bounce back to 25, then a roll over to 20 would be my thoughts. So your downside is pretty hefty, right? Whereas like if you're looking at upside, you flip 28.5, you go to 31. Like what's your upside? I mean, it's just all about your capitalization and what's your most profitable trade here, slash what's your more likely scenario too. And I would say equities are also kind of leading into or leaning into potentially what we could see in crypto kind of moving forward, or they could be lagging, right? Some people would argue the opposite. Some people would say that they're lagging and that they'll catch up. I mean, there's certain levels on certain stocks that I think like if they hold, great, then we have room for upside. But if we don't hold, I mean, what is your real upside potential here? So it's a hard spot. I would say with the Apple situation, it's even more difficult because of the things going on with China and Apple and everything else. There's a lot going on with that. It's much deeper than a lot of people understand. I do want to point out though that the one thing with Apple, at least as far as that goes, like there is a lot of discussion, but I don't feel like there's a lot of clarity on what's actually happening there. But it's more the government stating that you can't use the devices in the government. Apple hasn't been like full on banned in China or Asia or anything like that. It's more of a government move. Now, does that go more widespread? Sure, maybe. We don't know at the end of the day. We'll have to see as things kind of play out. But this definitely can create a shakeup in Apple, and it could hold Apple below its support, which for me is 180, right? And if Apple floats below 180 for too long, I think you dump, and I think you dump in a big way. And that's just the market getting shaken out of an Apple position because the market is fearful of the potential headwind risk of what's actually going on here. So that's I know it was really long winded, but I mean, if you guys want to kind of jump in on that,
Yeah, you think under 180, it's still pretty bearish.
yeah, I think you have
Okay.
to use 180 as support. If you can't get above 180 as support, you're done. I mean, you're
Yeah.
seeing it on the high time frames too. The monthly is very indicative of that whole price range, also.
Look at that, man. It just really came right in there, didn't it?
How does the NASDAQ as a whole look? After we take a look at Apple, let's take a look at NASDAQ.
NASDAQ
Yeah.
looks, I would say it looks neutral. Like not too much can be pulled from it today so far. Yeah, that looks a little bad on the higher time frames, I suppose. I do think we're going to go down and put in some price action below that low that we set. Yeah, right there. But I do think we could potentially grind up a little bit this week. We have a daily order block sitting right at the top of that breakdown candle, Tucker.
Yeah.
So I think we really shouldn't get back above that if we are going to get bearish downside.
Yeah, I think you gotta hold somewhere in here. I mean, because it looks like it's just, we can hit another one of those, but
I don't think we're getting back above that high. I don't think we should.
Yeah.
I think if you get back above that high, then you're going a lot higher. I would honestly see the last blue candle you have there, Tucker, on the daily time frame. Yeah, that daily order block.
Yeah.
That really that should cap price right there.
Yeah, you could pop back up in there for sure.
I don't even know if you'll tag it or just sort of grind up like you're going to and then turn around, but you really shouldn't get back above that. And I actually let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Here's kind of what I think low key might happen. I think we're gonna do something like this. It's a little normie with like the falling wedge, but I think something like this is really possible, where you basically just, and who knows what happens in the very short term, but I think we'll probably bleed through September and October, and I like this weekly level right here. And I don't know if we go here. I mean, I could see it given the right conditions with a pause, but in my opinion, we should come back down and retest this weekly imbalance here in this 0.5 fib and this August 2022 high, which is so significant. And we're basically in this, we're in this falling wedge. So it'd be nice to maybe come back up here a little bit, before we have another drop. But I don't think we should go a ton higher. This daily order block right here should really, it's not perfectly drawn, but we shouldn't really move back up there. I would like us to grind a little higher on the lower time frames. Yeah, that looks bad. I don't know. Maybe we'll just go down. I'm not really sure, but I'd like us to kind of grind up here first, trap them, and then we move down. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. It's a Monday. There's a lot of games being played right now. I don't know what the heck's going on here. I would think that this area could maybe hold right here.
I think it's just good to like keep it just simple, right? And I think the simplest method here is to stay high time frame on a lot of this. Really kind of dial your way back down from the high time frame, and then see where you're at in the lower time frames. Because like high time frame, like this is not looking good, right? Low time frame, I would say overall, like you're probably in a consolidation range. But does that consolidation come back up, retest resistance, and then fall over, or does it actually break through? And I think high time frame is indicating it's going to maybe retest and roll over.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Will. I don't know how much downside I'm really expecting. I'm not really anticipating Armageddon yet. I suppose we do have FOMC this week. But I would say looking at assuming that this holds maybe, and this is just sort of a little Monday shakeout. Again, this is our big falling wedge here. Here's our daily supply. We shouldn't get really back up there too deep. We're potentially looking, let's just say even from right here. In my opinion, we're looking at potentially 5-6% down on the NASDAQ. There's definitely a lot of money to be made on a move like that if we are going to go down. But the question is, like you said, Will, on the low time frame, what do we do? I'm pretty convicted that we're in something like this. And we're going to get the pause somewhere around here, and then we're going to rip after that, at least for a little bit, or at least recover. I don't know.
I'm in the slow bleed camp.
You're in the slow. Is that because of what you're seeing with Apple mainly?
Yeah. I'm in the slow bleed camp specifically because of Apple.
So here, well, I wanted to pick your brain on this a little bit. It actually doesn't okay. The drop was aggressive, right? The drop was very aggressive. In my opinion, this doesn't look horrible. This is most definitely previous resistance, now maybe flip support. How we got there is very ugly. But but I mean, you can see here all of these interactions here, and then we gapped up right here. And going out of the lower time frame, we're trying to hold it.
Look at Tesla.
Terrible.
Look at Tesla on that same gap. Because Tesla's very similar. It's been playing the same gap over and over. Look how far below the gap Tesla got.
Which gap you talking about?
The one that you have identified right there.
Here?
Yeah.
I need to sync these up.
Now, what does your RSI look like on that move right there? on Apple.
This is on the 4 hour.
Yes, it's the normie regular trend RSI. There's no strength that's moving with the price. So this could definitely roll over.
You're right at that 50 on Apple, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I'd say if you break that, you're probably expanding up.
Yeah. You have to get well above it though. Like I would, because what they could do to scam this is they could push it above it temporarily and then retract that strength right back below it.
I kind of think that's what they're going to do with these tech stocks. I look at something like Nvidia. It pretty much spent this morning filling last week's gap. I think that it either created Thursday or Friday. So I'm interested to see how it reacts after filling that gap fully. And, you know, when we talk about things that can cause like real movement in the market, there really is only one thing that can cause significant volatility. And it is, ironically, the volatility index itself, based on the way that people, you know, trade around it and things like that. And I think it lines up very favorably as far as, you know, correlations and negative correlations with, you know, these big tech stocks. So I would love to get a look at the VIX when y'all are done looking at Tesla here, because I think it's going to play a pretty big role over the next 2 weeks. And to me, it looks like it's beginning to curl up.
Just trying to massage here.
Yeah, there she is. Where's that from?
That's just repeating this move we had right here. I'm just saying, I mean, yeah, it looks a little ugly, right? But it's Tesla. It's super volatile. This little move right here ain't too bad, man. This is the old Tesla special right here.
Yeah.
This is the sell your bag to Kathy Wood special right here, man. This is where
Tesla trades like a proper shit coin, man. Let me just say.
Yes, it does. Look at that thing, man.
You want to do the Euro, Max? We had Tyrell asking for the Euro.
Let's get you up, Tucker.
I got it already here. We got the Euro on the weekly. You could say sideways since inception, basically, which is pretty funny.
Sideways since inception.
I mean, as it should be, I guess, right? I don't know. I mean, I had something drawn here. I think it was like in here. Like you're kind of at support, right? You're kind of at support. Ish, but
here's the
really.
issue with support, man. Here's the issue with the alleged support is that currently the likes on the video are not being supported like they normally are. Guys, if you are enjoying the content so far, please consider smashing that thumbs up button for us. It really does wonders for the channel and helps the robot at YouTube headquarters take a liking to us right now. We got 33 people watching. Thank you guys for choosing to spend your Monday with us here because Bitcoin. This is Market Check. We got 14 likes on the video right now. TP1, as always, will be 20 likes on the video. And then hopefully by the end, we can try to run the final TP at 30 likes. So, guys, thanks so much. Appreciate you guys being here. Let's see. We got some comments here, man. What's up, Jackus? What's up, dude? How are we, Jackus? Good to see you, man. Good morning, everybody.
My issue with Apple and with Tesla both are lower highs, right? Both of them have formed lower highs. Both of them are not indicating that they want to form a higher high.
Ooh. I don't know, Tyrell. I think it's hold here. Take a dip for sure.
What's the strength look like on that?
I mean, that was pretty aggressive. I'd say you probably at least consolidate here. I'd say maybe you consolidate for a little bit and then you fake out and something like that. What's the strength look like?
You guys live and die by RSI, man. I
don't really use RSI a crazy amount.
I just like to gauge what people's interests are because strength will indicate. Well, it doesn't mean I'm going to make my trade off the RSI. It just means I want to see the directionality.
I will say though, Will, you are kind of deadly with the RSI, but I just have never really used it. It's not a huge part of my system. Sometimes I take note to it on the higher time frames if I look for daily divergences or something like that. But you're out here, man, just sniping like hourly time frame bull divs and stuff. It works.
It does. A lot of people don't realize it does.
It works. It actually works. Yeah. I've seen it.
I pointed out too many this year for people to say it doesn't work.
I think this is cooked. This looks cooked, man. on the weekly.
Yeah, I mean you're below the 52 on strength. You're gonna fall back to
You
the
look
30.
cooked. Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably about to drop pretty meaningfully. If I
Like
had to
you're
Yeah.
probably like in here. That
What
was
about a
the same
retest of the
RSI level.
50? Retest of the 50, little pop up, and then roll over.
Look, you could be right here. You could just do this, which would be a nightmare.
Tucker, right there on July. draw a line on that low right there.
Look at that, man. You could easily do that.
Tucker, man.
That's outrageous.
Look at that. You're at the
Man.
same RSI level right here,
Bro,
basically.
this isn't World War II.
That's not what that was 2 years ago, 4 years ago.
Tyrell says he thinks it's going to 85 cents. So
Go to draw a line on those two previous supports right there. So the one in July.
You're talking about RSI or price?
No, the price. Bottom, the low, the very low end range of that price. Nope, go back. No, where you
Here?
were. Right there.
Yeah.
So draw a line across there, and then draw a line across the other one, the other low before
This
that.
one?
Yep. All right, see where we're at from those two. See, that's right into your 50 right there. And then if you break any lower than that, you're probably gonna hit that low end range one.
Those are basically.
All right, so what
equal.
does this mean for the stuff that we trade? Because guys, I mean, none of us trade the euro. Like I'm pretty sure no
Means
one here's ever
absolutely
traded the euro.
nothing, and Europe has no value. So
why are we charting?
Yeah,
I love Euro, man. It's a beautiful place to travel.
I mean,
Their
if the
economy is a
euro-
little, you know,
if the
Look.
euro keeps nuking, it's probably not good for.
I can tell you
Bitcoin.
this. I know tons of third world countries that are beautiful places to travel. Europe is one of them. All right.
all right. Let's see here, man.
Yeah, that's facts, Jackus. That's facts. So, AKA
Jackus, if you want to come on the show, let me know. I'll send you a link, brother. No pressure. You would know more about the euro, man. None of us trade the euro, or what are we charting here, guys? How's this helping Bitcoin? And
this is the risk asset indicator, man. It's basically what it is.
so euro nuke, risk nuke.
Typically, yeah.
Well, because you got bearish euro, bullish Dixie, bearish risk. You could go that route with it, or you could say it's more directly just bearish risk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I'd say
I think euro doesn't matter, and the real question here is what's going on with DXY.
let's see. There's your trade, brothers. Make it a little tighter.
That's
How
really
much? How many pips you gonna make there?
Look at that little 8R. Oh yeah, that's it. There's your TP1. Anywhere in here. Bang. You're welcome. I'm a 4x god now. I'm just kidding.
Hey, pull out a DXY though. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. Eesh.
So I see DXY. I've been saying this for months now, man. There's a monthly imbalance that either we're dipping into or we're really close. It looks like we're not quite there yet. I want that monthly inefficiency tagged. 107, 108, 109. Then I think we slowly roll over, and I think we get the pause rally across the board. I think we're going to see weakness until we probably hit 107, 108.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Dixie rolls over. Yeah. Dixie's going to roll over, work its way up in there, do its thing, whatever. Dixie's going to roll over just like that. We're going to get like a 12-month pause rally. And then we'll probably bounce again from, I don't know, 96, 97, wherever.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was looking. Is 107. It's even on the weekly. You see it on the lower time frames too. It's very apparent that that's the area you want to watch. Right around 107. You can see right there that you got your range high over there on the left where it basically rejected under where it found support.
You got an imbalance a little higher though on the weekly.
Yep, you do.
There's
You
the
do.
mid. I like
At
the
what point do we
mid.
start getting really bullish on the dollar, guys? Because
Above 109.
I haven't really traded the dollar in a while.
I mean, man, I'd have to see us consolidating above 107.50 for like 2, 3, 4 weeks and refusing to break back down. It would have to be a sustained prop up. I don't think it's likely at this point, but that's the level. That's definitely the level.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think if you were to draw a line across all those highs there, Tucker, you are hitting. You're just below resistance right now.
Right.
Right. And you could even draw it all the way to the left. Right. You could take it from the left. Yep, right there. Right
Because this grind on the dollar, if I were trading it like a shit coin, to me,
Exactly.
like this slow grind from the lows either means we're about to put in a huge blow off candle, or it's a sign of really weak momentum into resistance.
It's gonna nuke.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of the two. It's either gonna nuke or it's gonna break out pretty hefty here.
I'm a little skeptical of this mechanical twop upward though. This looks like stairs up, elevator down to me.
I think it's
Well-
more so shorts getting wrecked because, dude, people have been shorting the dollar like crazy for like a year now.
Yeah, probably.
Here's the thing. Let's entertain this. Tucker, go ahead and invert that. Go ahead and invert the chart. So if we were looking at it from this perspective, what would you think there?
It's gonna nuke. I mean, I wish you could invert RSI. I don't think you can, but
No, you can't. Yeah.
I mean,
I would think it's found support.
I mean, maybe it should bounce a little, but
I think it's gonna run. It looks like it wants to maybe run those lows.
Mm-hmm.
So just like deviate below that red line there, Tucker. Look for the reclaim, and then it would be a solid long. Yeah, that's what I'd be looking for if that's what the chart looked like.
That brings it right to where we're talking 106, 107.
Can you go
And
left
then
a little bit more, Tucker?
Rejection.
yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, okay. I just wanted to see if we mounted. Yeah, okay. I mean, the previous top in 2001, we stopped. There's probably a point of control in there that we probably stopped right at.
Yeah.
Give or take. But I like that held, that cap Dixie.
Yeah.
But I'm very bearish on DXY.
I mean, you had like a 3-drive top in 2001.
Yeah.
It's the lower high, man. It's the lower high. I think it probably puts in a lower high.
I do too. And it's a monthly inefficiency. Like at a minimum, it's gonna cap it for a little bit.
If you draw a line, Tucker, real quick, scroll out. I just want to show for the audience when you get a chance.
It looked like it maybe looked like this, or we could get something like that.
Tucker, throw this on. Throw this trade setup on there.
Ooh, jacket.
Let's throw a little bracket on there. See what she looks like.
What do we got? Short Dixie 105.25. Okay.
Just do like 105.50, something like that.
96. Yeah, 96.5 makes sense. Because like if you roll to that's what I was gonna actually point out.
So short the red line, basically.
50, yeah, right there.
Stop loss 107.2. TP 96.5.
Oh geez.
I mean, I don't see it nuking like that. It'll be a bleed, if anything.
Little 5R banger.
The only thing I don't like about that is that I really want that monthly imbalance tagged. And where does the monthly imbalance start? Can you go to the monthly real quick?
Yeah,
where does the monthly start?
Like,
you maybe draw a line at the
yeah, let me get rid of this line.
Yeah, right there. Yeah, that's your monthly.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the lower time frame now. Yeah, that's not bad actually.
Saying you dip into it and then fall out.
Yeah, I mean, I would short as soon as it dips into it. But also I was waiting for the monthly imbalance on Bitcoin at 33K and it got front ran. So maybe it doesn't get hit this time.
Yeah, but Bitcoin and dollar operate a little bit differently too, I think, secularly. But I would say this too. Scroll out real quick, Tucker, on the monthly. And then scroll out more. Yeah. Now go ahead and draw a line across those lows from 2007 or 2011.
Go to the 300-month chart real quick.
This guy.
Find the lows.
Yeah, just 2011 all the way to now. No. Angled.
2011?
Angled.
Oh, a trend line.
Yep. Trend line.
What, these or these?
Yep. Right there.
Yeah.
The one you're at.
Yeah.
Now scroll to where we are. See, this is why I'm on board with the low, but I'm not on board with the nuke. I'm on board with the bleed into that.
But
That's
a
what I'm
long
looking
bleed into that will over many months, if not a couple years,
years,
would imply a prolonged period of risk on.
Yes,
correct?
it would. Yep.
So how do you? Okay, so
I mean, we'll probably see
walk me-
chop in the
walk me
meantime.
through this though. Walk me through this though, right? So let's say we get a Fed pause. Let's say we get a Fed pause within the next 30 to 45 days. I think they're probably done hiking US rates this week, but they're not going to frame it as like we're paused. This would be just another skip. And I think they're probably going to officially pause at the end of October, early November. We can rally maybe, let's assume, for 9 or 12 months for the the infamous pause rally when they're done hiking before things actually start breaking and we start feeling those interest rate hikes. How can you quantify Dixie bleeding for like 2 years plus?
Mine looks a lot different than yours. Hold on just a second. Let me share. All right, so this is what I have right here. All right, let me how do we do the switching thing?
I would almost be more in the camp of hoping that Dixie nukes. We get like a 1 year period of risk on for a pause. And then once the Fed starts cutting, maybe Q2 of next year, then we see Dixie start to recover as people go risk off again.
So here's what I have. This is my scrolled out version, monthly high time frame. Just kind of highlighting the lows here and how they tend to come back to this trend over and over and over again throughout multiple years, right? It's just something that continues to play out. Basically, what I have is I had the kind of falling channel, right? We got the breakout, and essentially what I'm thinking is that we kind of do this. We could play high, we could get spikes, right? And then kind of roll out of this right over here. Now
that takes us to 2027. Am I seeing that correctly?
I mean, we're going to get drawdowns for sure. Like this
Right.
is basically your market drawdown, right? I mean, essentially this could even do this and then do this over here, revisit highs, and then play back into the trend. Right? And then you get a kind of a double top high here. You get your nuke somewhere in 2026, 2025. And then after your nuke, your second nuke, and it could even play higher too. Keep in mind, they could even play to the higher trend. Your higher trend, a lot of people haven't even realized this. Like it's all the way up here, right? That'd be you playing up here. So if they were to like run this down, for instance, and then spike, and then play back in the trend, it could be something like that, for instance.
So you don't really see 99, 98. It's a little small. You don't see that upper 90 region getting breached. You think we're going to range and chop and have multiple periods of expansion and contraction within a long Dixie range
Above $1.
Yeah, until we meet that trend line that you have.
The market has to stabilize for us to go below $1. That's just my thoughts, and to sustainably go below $1, right? And what I mean by stabilize means like no headwind risk, everybody's good, yada yada yada.
Mm-hmm.
When there's no headwind risks, everybody's good, you can go below $1. But when there's obviously risk on the table, there's always going to be people that will bid $1 over assets. And we see it time and time again. I mean, here's an instance over here from 2017. This is our low. This right here is our low from 2021, 2020. Like nobody saw this coming. W formation, breakout, right? I mean, I saw this coming because I started to see it start to pick up steam over here. And I was like, we're getting above any type of resistance here. We're starting to break above it. and then we flipped it as support and started holding it, that was your first red flag right here that the market was going to flip up.
So Will,
And-
I don't
well,
really
not the
trade.
market flip up,
I
but the
don't.
dollar.
I don't trade with stochastic too much,
Mhm.
but stochastic is completely floored here
Yep.
on this
And where you at on the
breakout.
RSI?
It's holding the 50, right? So this looks
Yep.
very bullish.
It looks very strong.
What do you make of
Very,
that?
very strong. That's the part I'm conflicted on. I'm conflicted on this
So you're
move.
bearish
I don't-
DXY, but your system is kind of telling you up more.
Well, my system's definitely telling me up more, right? It's telling me that we should probably do that.
Man, if we do that, that is
Man,
I
if,
mean,
yeah, if we do
look
that,
at where
that is
we're at.
not good.
that is not good, man.
That is
Look-
horrendous.
Let me
I
give you
don't
guys
think
an
anybody's
example.
actually
I don't
rooting for that
I don't
to
think it'll
happen.
be I don't think
No.
it'll be this full move. I think it'll be a revisit of the highs. Why? I'll give you a reason why. Here's our lows. Here's our lows, right? You're getting double indication of upside. Anything above the 50 is super bullish. It's super bullish. And we're holding above the 50 and we're floored on the stochastic. I mean, dollar to me it looks like it wants to do this.
Dude, nobody's ready for Dixie above 130. Nobody will.
Nobody.
Nobody.
I'm just saying, look,
No.
I'm not trying to be in the bear camp or anything like that. Like this is just what I see. Like, and that's how I am. I'm the type of person to tell you what I see, right? Like I don't care about bear bull bias. I don't care about any of that stuff.
I
I just
mean,
care about
dollar to
directional outlook.
130 is firmly in the bear camp, brother.
Yeah.
That is
Well, no. This is 120. I want to be clear.
either
Oh,
way.
sorry. It's a little. It looked like 130. That.
No,
Yeah.
it's
okay.
120.
Oh, never
It's a
mind.
little small.
Yeah. This is 120. I want everybody to be clear. I did not call for 130. 130 is like you're talking like real systemic risk,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, no, these
like
are things that
really
we don't want to
risk.
happen.
But I think our best case scenario, most bullish bear case scenario is 120, right? And then I would say anything above that, the country's ended and we probably been doomed. Outside of that, my thoughts are like from a stochastic RSI perspective,
Yes, Todd.
it looks bullish. It does. All right, just from that, and I'm telling you guys, like, look, I'm telling you, 100% max. This is how I caught the reversal on the market in 2021. I caught the reversal on the market because I saw Dixie start to basically completely get floored over here, and people it was just too much risk on, right? And then over here now we're back where we started on stochastic, which realistically, I mean, this can stay low forever. Look, we came up right here, rolled long period of time, which means we'll continue to roll sideways, and then we rolled over, right? And then came down and then rolled out. Now, at that same time, though, we were also above, right? So you were above and at the 50. So indication was come down. But over here, it's a lot different. Why is it different? It's different because we're below and we're at the 50. So it's indicating that I think this thing reverses back up and we start to gain steam on the dollar. Now that could be a couple years, could be another year, could be 6 months, could be 3 months. We don't know because stochastic doesn't read time.
Well, this
It
is
just
on the
restricts.
on the monthly time frame. I mean, we're talking about huge moves here. I mean, it could take months to materialize and even really move the needle here. I'd like to talk a little bit more about crypto, guys, because Bitcoin is at a really, really important level right now. 27.3, give or take.
Yeah.
Will, you want it, or Tucker, do you have it up already? Either one of you.
Oh God,
Who
I've
wants
got it here. I can.
You got it.
Yeah.
So,
Go
to
ahead.
me, this is your level, and I see a lot of similarities to two places in the chart. I think we're either basically rerunning the June pump that we had, and we're about to take off, or this is very similar as well to the previous June 2022, where we had that second stab up, like we were going to break up, and then we actually just completely nuked and trapdoor. So we're either this June or last June, in my opinion. Yeah, we're either right there or we're about to rip up and probably retest 30K.
I'll tell you, there's been an asset that's kind of leading the market right now. It's BNB for one. I would say was leading yesterday, but on a more granular level, it's CRV. I'm glad Tucker's already got it pulled up, but I think CRV is leading the prints that Bitcoin is putting in. So I think I'd probably expect maybe one more run at the highs on Bitcoin, and if you don't get a rejection, then I definitely probably wouldn't be shorting until you see clear weakness. But if curve is an indication, then I think Bitcoin can put in one more high and then start to fade out.
BNB does look really good here, guys.
I have a really good chart for Bitcoin when you guys get a
Ooh,
second.
look at that. Those
Look at that
old
thing,
lines.
man.
Those old lines.
A little
man.
parabola.
A
Hey,
parabola.
remember at 200 when I was telling people don't short BNB and everybody's telling me it's going to collapse?
I hate when people short BNB at all. Will, that's like my biggest pet peeve in crypto. Is people
telling-
short
I was telling Naka
This
that on a
shit's tough,
space,
man.
bro. I was like, Naka, stop shorting BNB.
He's like, I'm max short
No.
BNB.
There's just easier
Yeah.
trades out there.
Yeah, there's much easier trades.
Hey,
but
Tucker,
I don't
could you-
know, man. I don't know.
Could you
it
pass
traded
this
right
for
into
like 2
the
seconds
halfway pump of the
on Bitcoin?
gap. So, or the halfway point of the gap.
Yeah,
So.
wait, what'd you say, Will?
The screen on Bitcoin for like 2 seconds. So I have a very interesting chart on Bitcoin. But I mean, I need the actual screen.
Oh, you need to
Oh,
go.
oh,
We
oh.
got you.
Oh,
I got
shit.
him.
My
I
bad.
got him, Tucker.
All right, you got him. You got him.
We always do that.
We always click on the thing. Who?
try to beat each other to the screen, man.
Yeah.
This is an old chart that I kind of had put together for the impulse waves, and I was kind of looking at patterns here. I found a very interesting one here, and it's basically this channel down, rip, right? Channel down, and look where we channeled right into. Same liquidity zone, same channel. I mean, we can view that how we want, but like that looks like a pattern to me.
So are we in the? That looks like it's pushing up against the top of that channel. Will, are you a bear here?
No.
Well,
Yeah.
so you're advocating to long into resistance?
No, I
Will?
wouldn't.
Dr.
No.
Will's outlook.
I'm
Mhm.
advocating to wait.
The
and see if we
resistance
can get
long
above.
or my God.
It needs to get above. It's
You
not.
need a headline for that, bro. You need a headline for that to
You-
repeat that grace.
Look,
or
I don't
that-
need any headline. I need liquidity to balance liquidity, and liquidity balanced.
But
and
we've
we're
got
sitting-
buyers coming in today, that's for sure.
got
I mean,
buyers.
anybody
But
has
Tommy, tell them where
OI
they're coming
today.
in from. Tommy, tell them who's buying.
Oh man, I mean, it's a lot of perps. I don't know what it means. It's not like this. It's not one exchange that's just kind of going ham versus another. I mean, it's just kind of perps aping here, and that is going to indicate one of two things, right? You're either going to continue grinding towards resistance and you're going to blow off, and the OI that's short biased is going to get smoked. Or this is around the top. You're going to see distribution here, and the rollover is going to be very nasty and probably through 25K. I mean, that's given that we've put in like $1 billion in open interest in the last 16 hours. That's pretty gnarly. I don't see that very often, guys.
Max, highlight AVG's comment.
AVG, Dad.
Oh,
That's a
man,
great
funny.
metaphor.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Just keep putting dollars in.
that's a good point, man. You're trading against the mafia boss, man. You really want to
Oh,
trade against CZ?
Hilarious.
Binance is fading. Binance
But
is fading. Bitcoin
I will say
here.
this: even though dollar looks dreadful, when I say dreadful, I mean it looks like it wants to rip. Like crypto's saying the opposite, man. Like you had this upswing in strength. You had this basically bottom stochastic, man. Like it looks like it lines to me, man. On these higher time frames, it looks like it wants to go. I don't know. Like look, you've had this drawdown up here where you basically reset your stochastic, right? And you're basically pulling just above the 50. And if they can get above this 50 and flip this SMA, like I can't see anything but up, right?
Wait, okay. Do you guys ever use OI divs
I won't
there's
use
a
divs, but
monstrous div.
I'll use gaps in OI if they fill. I think those are generally pretty actionable. But
I mean, dude, look at that. Look at that thing. The same amount of OI, but we are much lower. Also, this is just disgusting. That's insane.
Unless Spot comes in and really sends this.
Yes, there you go, Max.
But Hank,
Max
that's a
gets it.
big if. I get it, but that's a big
Yep,
if, man.
you
That's
get
a
it.
big
But
if.
but here's the
thing
thing. Here's the thing. Look,
it's usually the opposite order, though. You know, it's spot and then perps versus
well, hold on.
perps and then spot buys.
Yes,
I don't
Tommy.
know
Yes,
if I trust it.
there's some
Keep 'em
people
up.
being very aggressive here, Will. Like, even if it looks bullish right now, like they're being aggressive on a Monday. This is a Monday pump that's primarily being
I
driven
agree.
by perps.
I agree.
But it's not a problem if they actually follow through. But it's right here, brother. It's right here. Because because listen to me, if they puke this, that 900 million or $1 billion in longs they came in, if they puke here and they start getting absorbed, we're going literally straight down to 23K, man. This will be the one that flushes it.
But that's
what
what
the spot. If those of all those guys puke, look at Tucker's OI profile right there.
Well, yeah, it's a
If you
Jenga
see
puzzle.
that retrace back
I see
down,
it.
man, it's going to be disgusting. And I think you shove. I think you shove down there, but it's going to be disgusting.
We're gonna go way lower than the point of origin on the OI pump.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
that's
We're
what
gonna
I'm
go
saying.
way lower than
Yes.
26.5 if this thing.
I mean, we're going lower than that at that retraces, but
Yeah,
I
it's a
agree.
billion in OI. Like that's at
And
least
it all
3 or
happened
4K lower.
It happened quickly. This didn't happen over a week. This happened.
Yeah, this
I went to
happened
bed and I
very
woke up to
quickly.
this. You know, this is
I mean,
a lot.
The OI happened quickly, but price has been kind of consolidating the range, right? So like there are two different instances here, I would say, in a lot of different ways. But like when you look at price up to the drop we just incurred, like it's kind of a rebalancing in a sense, right? And this is why I said like 28K made sense, because everything above 28K we already consolidated the range, right? So a retest of the lows made sense before you got the retest of a retest of the highs made sense before you get a retest of the lows. And when I say highs, I mean the previous resistance / support, which is 28K.
I mean, they added 12% to OI for a 2.5% Bitcoin pump.
Yeah, I mean, bulls
Tommy,
might be getting
I got a
ahead of
question.
themselves a little bit.
Tommy, did Bybit puke? Did they ever puke that 40 million position or no?
No.
Okay, so I have a question, and this is a little bit abstract, but bear with me. Do you guys, when Bybit has their World Series of Trading competitions, and you always just get like scammery in the books because you get groups just pump and dumping stuff? Do you think that Friend Tech is sort of acting the same way, where you've got whales basically with group chats now sharing positions, and it's just causing things like this to happen?
I don't know that there's enough ammo in those chats to move a lot of these markets. I think this is this is probably Binance driven. And there's probably bad news this week. If it dumps, it's because we pumped, and this is to distribute and add hedges before bad news. Otherwise, I have to interpret the OI flow as insiders front running a headline, to the upside.
There you go.
Every time someone says something bullish, Will just goes, "There you go.
There you go.
There you go. There you go."
No,
it doesn't matter what it is. It's just bullish bias. Will's all about it, man.
Tommy,
I'm not gonna call this person out by name, but there's a guy on CT, and I've got his phone number. And if I text him, he's like a mega bear. If I text him anything bearish, he just goes, "I could absolutely see that." I'll be like, yeah, man. I think we could see SPX at 1,000 when this is all said and done. Like, yeah, me too, brother. It doesn't matter what I say.
Is he even reading your text, or is he just saying, yeah?
He just makes sure it's bearish bias, and he goes, "Absolutely, brother. Makes perfect sense to me. I could make up anything," and he would just be, "Yep, bearish. I'm all about it, man." That's Will on this show, man. Anything bullish, Will's like, "I could totally see that. You totally see it."
Hey, but I always give my dissenting opinion on bearishness too. I always do.
No, you do. It's just funny when you get bullish. It's just funny. It's funny.
Well, I mean, for
it.
me, honestly, like, I'll be real. Like, these are prices I dreamed about in 2021. and now we're getting them. So it's like everybody else is super upset, and I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I got out when I needed to, and now I can get back in while everybody else is crying.
I mean, yeah, that's the funny thing is it's the old meme of you've got like they look like little lemonade stands or like pop-up tables, right? And it's like 65K Bitcoin, the lines around the block. 26, 27K Bitcoin. There's one person standing there. His name is Will's Outlook. So yeah, I mean, you're right. It's just it's when do you want to position pre-halving, right? For me, it's a little bit less about price and more about I want to deploy
Momentum.
when I think that price is right with like within 2 weeks of mega expansion. And I don't think we're on the verge of mega expansion here. I think we can move up. I mean, clearly we're moving up today.
I mean, look at this, dude. They're just longing the top as we speak.
The top for now, Tucker.
The top.
They're going to take the highs, I think, and then we'll see the reaction from there.
Yeah.
Tommy, if they swept the grayscale SEC news high, and if they get above that high, are you bullish, or is there any circumstance where they could take out that high and you'd still be bearish?
Well, I mean, it could be just kind of a pump towards like that 29K point of origin that we dumped from. I could see that. It kind of depends on where you see distribution, because to be honest, if we get above 27.5, and I said this on our morning call, that, I mean, this area like 27.2, 27.6, that's where we saw the distribution occur from the grayscale pump. I mean, it topped higher than that, but the distribution occurred around this level. So I think if you flip it, you're going to engulf the entire grayscale move for one, but you have enough momentum, I think, at that point to really run. And I look at something like these, the 4-hour RSI, I look at like the daily RSI, some other stuff. But if we break above this level, to me, that would trigger a momentum breakout on a lot of time frames. And I think that's more important than the actual like price and structure, is the momentum. And you know, Will's been talking about this. Like, if we do break this level, then the momentum is going to be very strong. And that's kind of the main reason why I would not feel comfortable stepping in front of it if I were a bear until we're back below, 27.5. If we were to really break out here.
Yeah, there's certain levels that you have to really focus on for price. And I think like if you get above them, you need to be bullish. If you get below them, you can be bearish, right? And I told you that, Max. I said basically like, hey, they close below 25, we're going deep. And like they, same thing when we were at 28. I was like, you break 28, we're screwed. And that's why I moved my stop at the 27. I was like, am I long? I'm not gonna round trip that. I was like, they break 28, I'm gonna get smoked. And then they came down, just knocked me out immediately and just ran straight down to 25. Right? Like these things, like once they get above or below certain levels, they just run and they run hard.
I'll make this a little easier to see. Okay. Here's my thought. For one, I think we need to reject here if you're going to be bearish. Two, here, let me turn these colored candles off. Excuse me just a moment. This, in my opinion, could get retested here. And I think I'd be more in the camp that we get stuffed right up here retesting the entire underside of this consolidation than I would be that we go back to 30K. So I think I'm not in any Bitcoin shorts or anything right now, but I would think if we moved up here, this is probably your area. This is probably it.
I mean, I agree, Max. Also, my fallen channel, we're right at the top, right? So like this has to be a rejection if you're going to reject. You start breaking out of this zone, you start getting to 28, 28.5, you're going to go up.
Looking at total here, I mean, total could run a little bit. We're going to redraw these. I don't like these drawings. I did these quickly on like a show a long time ago, and I've just left them since. But this is total. Oh, there's a huge wasp in my office. Damn it.
No.
Oh, no.
It's over.
Oh, no. Dude, it's huge. Oh, man, what a bummer. All right, if you hear me scream or something, there's a huge wasp in here, man.
Come on, Max, let him cook.
Let him cook. Pull up.
Yeah, I'm going to do something with him.
Let him cook.
Yeah, let him cook. All right. So just looking at total here, where could we potentially go? I don't like that in red. We're gonna make that black. We started to break down here. I find it a little hard to imagine that we would really come back up here, but it's not impossible. Let's get rid of the normie trend line. We could maybe do something like this. Oh no, that's really ugly. Why doesn't save any of my preferences sometimes? It's very, very annoying. I would think total could do something like this. And then we probably move back down. And I want this level right here.
Too high, brother.
Too high, brother. Could I do this? What do we think about that? Because it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were looking at something like this.
See, I think you could get it on Bitcoin, but I don't know if you could get it on total 2 or total 3. You know what I mean? Like,
this is total, man. This is
that's the entire market.
You weren't on total 2.
This is total, man. This is Bitcoin, ETH, poop coin, everything. If we were looking at something like this, I'd say, all right, we could do this. And this is actually a pretty nice. This is a nice little sweep low we could put in right here, man. I wouldn't mind something like this. Retest all of this demand, right? It's inverted. Retest the demand, sweep this low, and then look for breakout from there. I'm just saying that's how I'd be looking at it if I didn't have a higher time frame bias. I'd be looking at something like this. And the room went silent.
No, I was just pulling up my chart to rebuttal that whole conversation. No,
I feel like at that point,
rip you apart, Max.
It's a range, right? Like if we go that high, then we're probably going back to range highs. Like that's kind of how I see it. If you just kind of view this whole, 1 trillion,
like being above the 50
or 1.25 as a range, then I think if we break above like this level, break above market structure and delta, probably go back to range highs.
Hey Max, when you get a second, if you could go ahead and shoot the screen over, appreciate it. No,
wait, we should check the DeFi perps index.
Will you want the screen?
I think people are long.
And then we'll get to DeFi real quick.
What was that, Tommy?
You think people are long in DeFi?
So I just want to.
No, Jack has just told us to check it. I don't know though.
I haven't really discussed this that much, but I wanted to kind of cover this and we get into DeFi. That's cool. So this is kind of like your overall market structure, right? So I went into a lot of detail / time into this chart to kind of explain to people kind of like what occurs during Bitcoin tops and so on and so forth. But basically, as long as you remain elevated, you're in that uptrend, right? The second you start breaking stochastic to the downside, you're looking basically for the market to kind of reverse back into the lows, and that's basically what occurred here. Then we had basically the run up here, the pull back into the low here, right? Basically a W if you look at it from a bigger time frame. And then you had the ramp up to the next market right up into here, right? Now you could have gotten out over here and you still would have been more profitable than those who rode this down, right? Or you could wait, market then reverses down, then rolls back up. And this is how you knew this was kind of like a false top.
Max is killing the wasp.
I just got him, boys.
This is how you knew that this right here was a false top right here specifically, because you had your market moving up, your stochastic moving down, market moving up, RSI losing strength. Everything was indicating bear div at the highs, right? And then you had your deviation. If you wanted confirmation of deviation, you could have just drawn a line straight across. The second you break below here, just like what Apple's doing right now, by the way, Apple's doing this exact thing. And then from there, you just kind of nuked, right? You came down, you broke below value, you tried to retest value, and then you nuked. And that's
but Will, I was promised 100K in Q4 of 2021, October.
So, but here, let's get into the important part here. because this is the important part that I don't want people to miss. If we look here at the lows, right? So again, this follows the same pattern, right? Follows the same pattern. If we look at the lows on stochastic right here, right? And we look at the low here on RSI right here, this is the same thing that occurred over here when the market bottomed. And if we look here, stochastic has already pulled back out, right? RSI is moving just under and looks like it wants to roll back out. I'm very much in the camp market's bottom, right? And now that doesn't mean that you can't roll back into those lows. It just means you're not going to get lower prices. Like I know a lot of people are in that camp that you can.
Will, let me comment on that real quick. I actually would agree with you that I think we bottomed. I'm not in the camp of a double bottom or a sweep of those lows anymore. I think if we happen to get 21 or 22K, I think it's an absolute shove like your life depends on it. Everything. Mostly Bitcoin for me, but I think Bitcoin and
Bitcoin's gonna
ETH,
run.
if we got a flush to low 20s, shove, man. Absolutely shove. I think we're bottomed.
Do you guys
Should we
know what's
take
in a
out
few
a-
hours, by the way?
Huh?
What'd you say, Tommy?
In a few hours, the SEC and Binance will have a hearing in court.
Oh,
So that is
That's
something.
probably just going to be
Nice.
volatile.
Nice
exit
pump
spam.
you've got there, Tommy.
That is
Be a
something to
shame.
keep an eye on.
But
man.
here's the thing to lead into what you're saying with that, right? So if we look at now, granted, this is total, guys. This is not Bitcoin. This is the overall crypto market cap, right? So if we look here, we're at the highs right now in total on the high time frame, right? We're at the lows here, or kind of the mid range on the low time frame. We can definitely come down from here and hit this midline just like we did over here, right? And kind of hang out there for a little while, which means price will come down, right? And then it will come out. But that's my indication of right now of where I think we are in the market. I think we're here potentially moving into this lower wave, which is your pullback, right? I'm not even looking at this wick. I'm just looking at the pullback here into your pullback. And you can see it right here. Look, we're already starting to range into that pullback, right? You're into your pullback, your momentum play, your momentum into your momentum. And again,
Bro,
I think
look
we're
at
momentuming
2019, bro. Look
into
at
our
stock.
momentum.
Look at stochastic in 2019 compared to now. It's literally identical. What we nuked 50% from the high.
Yeah, this is the same move. It's the same move. We basically topped out here just like we did coming out of the bottom. Market got a little bit
And by the way,
over-exuberant.
Tucker, what he's saying, the markets were bottomed even after that nuke. Like
No,
Bitcoin didn't go on to
I'm
make a new
I'm
low.
not calling for. That's an interesting point actually, because we pumped a lot more than we did this year, right? We pumped from 113 bill to what? I guess we only.
Well,
did
markets are always going to pump
we
more
pulled
because
back.
you got more
50%.
liquidity, right?
You
Like,
could
it's-
say, okay, you could say this. We retraced 50% of the pump, right? From the bottom to the top in 2019 on total. So what's 50% of the pump we put in this year on total? Just
I mean, I've got it to 853. That's where I think we land at the lowest point of the market, right?
hang on.
So if we were to draw back to there, that's 31.68%. Because keep in mind, look, the market's not going to match exact percentage pullback because the more liquidity you got, the more strength you got, right? And keep in mind, this is also total. This is not Bitcoin. It means Bitcoin could come back 50%, but total is not necessarily going to do that. It's just more projects equals more liquidity equals more strength on total.
So what, 260? Hang on. Doing some quant math over here. 260.
I got DeFi pulled up when you guys are ready.
But one more thing real quick before we get into DeFi. One thing that I paid attention to, and this is the one I wanted to point out. This is your low over here. Look at what we're doing right now. Right? We could easily pump back up to these highs before we end up kind of coming back to these lows into the halving. So I just want to be very clear about that as far as this goes. Right now, our range is between, this is what I pointed out this morning, 1.01 trillion or 1.10 trillion. Or yeah, 1.10. Was it 1.10? No, 1.01. 1.01 trillion. And then our high end range is 1.23. right? That's kind of your high. But I would honestly look at these highs. I wouldn't even look at the wicks, which would put your high end range right in here, right about 1.17, right? So this is our trapped liquidity range for now, at least we're ranging, and we'll probably get a pullback somewhere in here, and then a breakout into the halving. That's my thoughts on total, right? Not Bitcoin, not whatever.
I think we're going to pump before the halving, man. But I do think we're going to have down over the next, 45 days. I don't think we're going to see much. Like, we could see a pump like this today, but I don't really think it's going to be anything crazy. Let's look at DeFi.
I'd also love to take a look at ETH Bitcoin while we're taking a look at this, Max, because I think it paints the picture as well.
Let's pull them both up. How about that?
How about that?
Catch me outside. How about that? How about that? All right.
The same joke. That's the sad thing.
All right. So,
because ETH Bitcoin looks really bad to me, man. Like horrible.
I mean, dominance is showing that too, though. You know, dominance is a very big indicator of what's actually going on with altcoins. That I think that liquidity is rotating to Bitcoin. That's what's supporting it.
Yeah, I mean, left is DeFi, right is ETH BTC. ETH BTC is in a. I mean, it's got to hold, in my opinion. It's got to hold this. It's got to hold.
It's going to be big.
It's got to hold this monthly order block here, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to, because if it doesn't,
It's
I mean, you're talking
over.
about.
It looks over. That looks like a slow bleed into support that's going to nuke soon.
It's about to God candle if you invert that thing. I guarantee it.
Don't liquidate my flash loans,
Dude, I was pretty convinced of that. But honestly, I don't know anymore, man. Like, it's just it's almost starting to feel like it's doing this old, like, you know, the old Bitcoin, like, fake it's over pattern, and then it's gonna pop up.
There you go.
The
limp meat.
Will, that's what I mean. You don't even let me finish.
He doesn't even know.
You didn't even let me finish. He just heard something bullish.
I know where you're going.
He heard something bullish, and he just was
he's
about
talking
it.
about the limp meat. That's why
I would argue the breakdown has already started. Personally, based on where we've transacted volume.
Max, invert that chart, man. It looks giga bullish. I guarantee it's about to put in a Lord candle.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I'm with you. Like, I wouldn't be necessarily excited about Ethereum outperforming Bitcoin here, but this is the level to hold in theory. Like, this is
parabolic uptrends don't happen. All right, except for after the halving. So
yeah, I mean, I've made a video on this. He just stole my chart from me. What a thief, man!
I didn't mean to take this off. I shared my chart
with his doom fractal.
I mean, this just for those who are new, this is literally just this inverted. I don't know. I think the breakdown's starting.
He stole Max's glory.
I did not mean to steal the screen. I just shared my screen, and it stole your thunder on accident.
I don't want to talk about it, man. We'll talk about this after the show. That was pretty upsetting. I'm just kidding. Tommy, you can steal the chart whenever, man. I think we're going to continue to bleed here. And I made a video on this where the best time to buy Ethereum or rotate out of Bitcoin into Ethereum or really start chasing beta is after a Bitcoin halving, not before. So in my opinion, even if we held here, there's still not a reason to hold Ethereum, even if it holds here. Yeah, I think it's just generally safer to hold Bitcoin.
You know, when you really want to hold ETH is going to be January 2025.
I think so.
I like that. Why did you say that?
Ethereum tsunami.
Oh yeah,
the one that's gonna come through.
I remember that.
I love when people talk about these things. Like,
dude, it's real. It's real. The January after a halving, you want to hold ETH.
I don't think. Well, I view it as like, why would you in ETH Bitcoin, you should wait for Bitcoin to pump in USD before allocating to ETH, even if off the USD low, ETH is going to outperform Bitcoin. It's just a little harder to time the rotation.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I'm viewing it. Because, I mean, look, Bitcoin or ETH Bitcoin is going to break down. If Bitcoin is going to really rip, like ETH Bitcoin is going to break down. And it's going to break down from a 2-year range. So what kind of context does that lay out for ETH heading into the rest of the year?
Find January after every halving real quick.
Man.
Or just
Fine,
those,
Tucker. Fine. I'll find January.
trust me.
Just for you. I'll do it.
You passed it.
January after a halving? I didn't
After.
pass it. It's right here.
Okay.
Oops, wait, I'm gonna draw it down here. We'll put it green to buy. Can you guys see that okay? Oh baby. This is the January open down here. Oh man.
I'm telling you.
And then this one's gonna be, oh Tucker, I like this one, man. Wherever we're
Way
at.
out there, huh?
That's what I'm saying. You want to
It's
buy
way
it in
out there.
January.
Look how excited Will is because we're bullish, man. It's just,
No. Like I have the same thoughts. I think 2025 is when you'll see the bull run. I think
No,
people are
but that
pulling
is
out
not.
stocks.
This is
no,
not
that's the beta chase bull run, Will. The bull run commences before that for Bitcoin.
No,
this is
I mean,
this
like,
is a
rotate
Ben
out of
Cohen
Bitcoin
metric.
into alts.
that's your top. Yeah,
this
that's
is
your
a
top.
Ben Cohen thing right here. By the way, Ben Cohen is the one who called for the Ethereum tsunami in January after a halving.
Okay, so let's see. Look at this.
Buy a bunch of
DeFi.
gaming tokens and you'll be good. You don't need to touch Ethereum.
Look at this. Look at January right here for DeFi, man. Wild, man.
I did notice that. Yeah, I mean it looks tough, man.
Let's take a
and
measure
that also
here.
makes me wonder, Max, like what sort of collateralization is actually in DeFi? It still begs the question.
You know what we should discuss at some point? We should start talking about trends going into the next Bitcoin.
Let's
gotta
save that
be-
for tomorrow, Will.
It's
'cause
got
I
to be gaming.
wanna get into
let's
a
save
lot
it for
of that
tomorrow.
stuff.
man.
Yeah, that's fine.
We can spend a lot of time on that.
Wait,
Yeah.
Jack has just said the moment you really want to start holding ETH BTC is when it starts breaking the ascending triangle on the US dollar pair. All right, let's see if we can find this triangle here, man. Log mode. Okay, maybe.
US dollar.
Are we talking about this here, Jackus?
USD pair.
Oh, whoa. Okay. Yeah, okay. Well, let's pull up ETH then.
That's Tether.
Same thing.
Same thing.
Is it? Is
Same
it really?
thing.
You're talking about
Is it?
normie trend, normie uptrend, flat top.
Are you talking about this, Jackus? Would this be it with a little deviation, maybe?
No. Like think bigger. Think far bigger.
Think
Uh-oh,
bigger.
that's too far out. That's too far out.
Flat top at 2K, normie trend from the lows. See what I'm saying? Like horizontal at 2000, and then yeah. Now draw the top.
And you're talking, I got to put it. What you
Just a flat top from like.
Oh,
left.
I see. Something like this.
Yes. Maybe.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah.
I mean that's been the play all year.
Is it
Yeah.
really this simple, guys? Is
Yep.
it really?
Like you guys act like this has to be complicated.
We look at all this complex derivatives data. And
I'll tell you
everything.
what. I'll tell you what regarding this ETH play here is I would rather position at this point closer to 2K than I would on the trend line.
Well, yeah, I would agree with that. I
Yeah.
mean, dude, if we here's the thing. I would position at this point. I'd buy every alt under the sun. Oops, sorry. That's not what I wanted to draw. I'd buy every alt under the sun. If we flip this level right here. Flip that level, every alt under the sun, man.
And then they'll roll back under and take your alts back down 50% to 100.
If you do this, man, I mean, just
Mm.
I'm not even joking. This is not even satire. Like if you flip this level and then you break out of this range high right here, I mean, there's not a ton that I think would really stop us from literally going up here. If we broke out of this.
I gotta
But this
run,
just
guys.
doesn't look like a bottom to
See
me
you,
here.
Will.
See
All
you later.
right. See you, brother.
This is just disgusting. This is not a good looking bottom at all.
All that matters is that the lows are protected. Crypto loves to do that thing where they either they just protect the lows and they torture shorts forever, or all the lows go in one swipe.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Ethereum's lows have been protected for way too long.
That's why to me, I mean, this reminds me of the Bitcoin, of a bigger version of the Bitcoin redistribution from spring of 2022, where I mean we defended all those lows, and then eventually when they went, I mean it the rest is history. We marked down basically 50%, almost 60%, I think, from the top of that range.
Let's take a look at that. Let's see what Ethereum did during that time. You said spring of 2022.
Yeah, it reminds me of Bitcoin's redistribution, but I mean, I guess Ethereum's is essentially the same thing. We printed the range, defended the lows, and then eventually marked up, printed a potential deviation, and then we marked down.
Are you talking about this here, Tommy?
Yeah. Very similar to me, but bigger.
So this last impulse right here, potentially.
I think we already got it, personally.
You think that was right here?
Yes.
So you think we're like right around here?
Yeah. But it's like I said, I mean, crypto will either defend the lows and torture bears forever, or they will take all the lows in one swipe.
Yeah.
Here's what I will say about this. If we're in agreement that if we hold here and these lows continue to be protected, for example, this low protected, this low protected, this low protected, maybe new low, this stays protected. If they continue to protect it, we could potentially go to 2,500, something like that if we break out.
I think if they protect the lows on USD for ETH, that looking at ETH Bitcoin, how does that not just paint an unbelievably bullish picture for Bitcoin?
Then this is your trade.
I think the trade is going to be taking Bitcoin probably much higher than people think if ETH is going to hold the lows. Just looking at the ETH Bitcoin pair, because I don't think it's in any position where it's going to outperform Bitcoin, unless you get some real, outside of maybe like that momentum driven squeeze that tends to end the move on Ethereum. This year, Bitcoin has pretty much been stronger, and Bitcoin's been stronger than ETH pretty much the entirety of this year. So if ETH were to hold these lows, I have to imagine that Bitcoin USD just looks absurdly bullish.
Yeah, so if we did something like this and ETH BTC kept on bleeding, maybe bounces down here, I don't know, then ETH USD could move up. Who knows where it goes? But if this happens and ETH BTC bleeds 15%, I mean, Bitcoin could be at 38K or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I also, at the same time, if we're really going to be as risk on as getting Bitcoin to 38K, then that means the rotation out of Bitcoin into Ethereum is going to be worth it. Because we're probably talking about another like 3 or 4 months of up and sideways if that happens. You probably get like a little mini alt season too if that happens.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a scenario for Bitcoin that's, very, very bullish. We don't even have to really look at ETH, but I've had this mapped out for a while, man. We've got some serious inefficiencies from this drawdown over here. Like all of this, like all of these, man. I'll just mark these up like this. we've got some serious high time frame gaps right here, man. And it wouldn't be too crazy, in my opinion, just from a structural perspective, to come and retest all of these lows. So fill in these inefficiencies, retest this supply. These gaps are a problem. And if I wasn't so biased, it doesn't look that bad.
What would that imply? Pumping to 37K before the halving.
Because we've got a CME gap up there as well, man. We've got look at this. I need to adjust for the contract rollover, or not adjust.
That would probably wreck a lot of people, because then you'd probably at that point go to 40K, get a recession, and come back and test some lower levels, honestly.
Yeah, it's something we have to consider, guys. Like, what if we did something like this? We've been talking about this CME gap down here. What if we do something like this and we're bouncing around, we come up, fill in these inefficiencies in this CME gap. Through the end of the year, we're ranging into the halving. Here's the halving right around here. Recession hits, Bitcoin flash crashes, and then it begins to act like a commodity, starts trading like hard money. And we fill in this one below us right here. But what if it comes after the halving and not before, like we've been waiting for?
2015.
Yeah.
Could see it. I think
on any given day.
Yeah, it really depends on what happens, I feel like, with Binance over the next week or so, because I don't know that they can push off their baggage until next year, unless the news that they're going to get is good. And I don't know that I assign a high probability to good news for Binance.
You said they have a hearing today?
Yeah, with the SEC.
Is this Binance US?
No, Binance.
What time is that at?
It's probably both, but I'm not sure what time. But the pump into it is definitely interesting. I feel like you kind of have to assume that they're correlated, whether that means insiders front running that there's not any bad news and we're going to pump, or insiders front running that there will be bad news, squeezing shorts and getting their asks filled, and more importantly, hedges on the table.
Pump. Exit pamp.
Limit order roulette, guys.
I think it's one of the two. And hopefully we find out today. But I definitely feel as though we're coming to a head with the whole Binance news, and I don't think we're going to have to wait too much longer for closure at this point, which is good for the market as a whole.
Sacrifice season, isn't it, Tommy?
We do have the harvest moon coming up. That's for sure. I did say they might sacrifice Binance, and I guess we'll see if they actually do that. But it would be very funny if that actually did come true.
It's either they sacrifice Binance or they sacrifice bear stops. That's the only two options here.
Well, I think it's really longs at this point that are more vulnerable than shorts. If we get above 28, then you could probably see shorts just get absolutely obliterated. But right now, and you pointed it out, Tucker, right? We have the little div where open interest is at the same level as it was when we were 1,000 points higher. So
yeah,
I don't know. I think there's a little bit of overzealous positioning. We'll see how it resolves. But look, the way these pumps usually go, the way these squeezes go, we know this. All gas, no brakes, right? You get no pit stops. They're just going to go. So I would imagine if you're bullish, you should expect continuation probably over the next 48 to 72 hours, aggressive continuation. Otherwise, this was probably just a squeeze.
They won't sacrifice me.
They won't sacrifice me.
Biggest sacrifice I've ever seen, but they won't sacrifice me.
Oh, man.
We can go ahead and wrap it up right now. What do you guys say? Going for about an hour and a half?
Let's do it.
Sure.
Sweet. All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I see we got to 34 likes. I would love if you guys could push that to 40 before we sign out here. I'm excited for the rest of this week. I am very excited for the rest of September, not just because I feel like we're going to get some clarity with Binance, but I think all markets in general are going to be giving us a bit more clarity as far as what to expect in Q4, which is going to be potentially a very volatile move, whether that be to the upside or to the downside. But appreciate you guys for being here. Like I said, thank you for liking and subscribing. If you really enjoyed the content and want a bit more of an intimate look at how we're viewing the market right now, you can check some of that out in our premium links linked in the description of this YouTube, as well as the link tree of our Twitter bio. But thanks again, guys. Happy Monday. We will be back tomorrow, of course, and I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys.